Hello, and welcome back to Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice. If you happen to be a returning viewer, thank you for watching the series. Or if you happen to be new here, welcome to the series. In this episode, we'll be making our way to the depths of Ashina, but before that, we have a little business to take care of at the Ashina Reservoir, so we'll be making a quick detour there. On a side note, the placidity and the safety of the load screens is a nice brief respite from the constant clanging and clashing of swords, though it does make commentary and narration a little bit awkward. But fortunately for you and for me as well, I do believe this will be the only loading screen in this entire segment. Have no fear, the game will load soon. Is this getting awkward yet? Now that the game has finally decided to load, luckily for us, the reservoir isn't too far off. We're going to head up these rooftops, collect a few items, and then head through this door, preferably without shattering our ankles. After you've collected your items, run through this passageway and drop off to the right. We've arrived, and because From Software still hasn't gotten over their fetish for gigantic doors that open slowly, we're going to have to unfortunately sit through another loading screen. And yes, I lied about the loading screens to repurpose that joke. Welcome to the Ashina Reservoir. This area may look familiar to you, being that it's the initial area of the game where we stealth our way to the Moonview Tower. Unfortunately for us, the area hasn't changed all that much. Aside from now, it's partially populated with big boys with spiky instruments of death. But by using our knowledge from the beginning of the game, we can traverse a particular route, and circumvent combat with the majority of them. After acquiring the gatehouse key from the spear-wielding soldier on the bridge that leads to the abandoned dungeon, open the door to this small shrine to obtain Gyobu's broken horn. Famed horn spear once used by Gyobu Masataka Oniwa, affixed to the Shinobi Prosthetic to create a prosthetic tool. The horn contracts to pull enemies in, also capable of stripping crude armor. When the horn was broken during the rebellion, Isshin praised it for its splendid shape, awarding Oniwa with the cross-bladed spear of Shuzen Tamura. The name Tamura rings a bell. That's because Shuzen Tamura is the very same general from the introduction that died in battle against Isshin Ashina during the rebellion. Using this approach ensures that we'll remain undetected and can safely proceed to the Moonview Tower. The next mini-boss we'll be facing is quite an imposing one, but by using the environment to our advantage and demonstrating our best Sly Cooper impression, we'll be able to get the drop on him. Make your way across the cliffside, and I'll demonstrate.
Wolf, you said to me once, do what must be done, but I have yet to discover what it is that I must do. I don't understand. Why was I granted this power?
This shapely spear-wielding man that looks like he's had a mountain of Hostess moon pies is Shikibu Toshikatsu Yameuchi, a great value Havel the Rock wannabe who wields a spear as his weapon of choice, rather than the adamantine tooth of a dragon. And now he's about to learn what an incredibly stupid decision that was. So normally Shikibu likes to do that delayed thrust when you're at a particular distance from him, but here's a little trick if you don't feel comfortable timing it. Just throw a shuriken, and follow up with chasing slice to maintain your aggression on his posture. And with that, the mighty giant falls. With Shikibu dead, our next location of interest lies just northwest of here. There we'll run into an NPC named Ukonzaemon that we'll be seeing quite frequently over the course of the next few episodes. Run back in the direction of the idol, and use the path to the right we used earlier to reach Gyobu's broken horn, but instead, make your way around the wall. Here you'll find Ukonzaemon curiously peering downward through a hole into a well. After speaking to him, he relays to us that he's been hearing the beautiful, yet haunting sound of a shamisen from the depths below.
As if it yearns, it calls for someone. Hey, who are you calling for? Let me hear it one more time.
Hey, you.
What? My name is Ukonzaemon Usui. My duty is to patrol the moat. I've not seen you around before. Which clan are you?
I cannot say.
You cannot say, you say? So you are a shinobi, then?
I cannot say.
Your manners could use some work. No matter. If you are a shinobi, I won't press any further. Shinobi, have you ever heard someone playing the shamisen around here? I followed the sound and it led me to this well.
I have not.
Is that so? I thought since you're a shinobi you might know. I wonder who that melody calls to. I don't know why, but I can't stop thinking about it. No, it's nothing. Please forget I ever spoke of it.
And for now we will, because we have another small matter to attend to, and he awaits us at the bottom of the well. Our opponent is known as the Lone Shadow, and he can be a challenging opponent to tackle given the claustrophobic size of the area. My advice is to stay close and try to pace out his kicks with perfect deflex. McCarry his leg thrust combo under, and he'll go down in no time. I spoke earlier about the asset reuse in this game, and how sometimes it's understandable, and sometimes I consider it to be incredibly unimaginative. These guys more or less become a common enemy later, but they aren't really all that threatening or unique, especially if you know their combos and how to counter them. Instead, From Software went about supplementing lack of interesting enemy design, in lieu of new moves, by putting them in areas with annoying conditions, like the area being on fire, or by giving them buffs or status effects, and it really turns me off to the game that there isn't more unique and individualistic enemy design. There's too many enemies with swords in this game in my personal opinion, and I feel like FromSoft could have been a lot more original with the majority of enemy concepts. Though this next mini-boss is unironically one of my personal favorites in the game. So pull out your pacifying agents, and ready your confetti, because we're taking on the Shichimen Warrior, a spectral necromancer that mainly attacks the player via range and AoE-based attacks. While the Shichimen Warrior doesn't exactly have the most diverse set of attacks at his disposal, that doesn't make them any less deadly. Every single attack in his arsenal afflicts you with terror, a status abnormality that results in assured death. Should the gauge fill, terror can be circumvented in a few ways, one of which is using pacifying agents to both raise resistance to and dispel the effects. The second of which being the mottled purple gourd, which we won't have access to for a bit of time yet. The Shichimen Warrior is a phantom-like entity, and therefore Divine Confetti is advisable for him to take any sufficient damage. My advice for the Shichimen Warrior is much like the Lone Shadow. Try to stay close, and overwhelm him with physical attacks. He has a few melee attacks he will attempt to strike you with, if allowed the opportunity to do so, but they're easily deflectable. Be wary of when he begins to vanish. Should you keep attacking, the touch of death may be closer than you think. When he vanishes, he'll more often than not teleport to the end of the room behind you. Prepare yourself, and begin making your way to his position as soon as you possibly can. Keep up the aggression, and be sure to manage your terror meter, if and when necessary, and victory against this phantasmal foe is assured. Ceremonial Tanto, a dagger with the stark white blade and hilt, converts vitality into spirit emblems. Resting replenishes its charges. Originally, this Tanto was used in a ritual offering to the dragon, in which an emblem would be cut from one's own life force and set adrift on the fountainhead waters. The blade is inscribed with its true name, Devoted Soul. Made evident by the glowing yellow objects on the screen, this room is filled with items. And now that my short-lived anxiety attack is purged from this unholy fucking place, I'm going to take the time to collect them all.